Hi, this is János, Real World Audio, and today we have something very special for you. We, royal me, I mean me and the cats, if they are willing to come inside. I think Kintaro is already trying to get into his room, which is this room where we are at now. And today I will be talking about reference recordings, if you can hear any of it. My neighbors decided to do making some noise right there, so sorry about that. So the subject of reference recordings, this was something that you wanted to hear about, and my thoughts, the specific question was which are my reference songs that I'm using, and my answer is I do not have reference songs. And also I had a progression during my 20 plus years as an audiophile to go how I think about reference recordings, what is the purpose they serve, and how do I listen to them, and what do I use them for. This is Machi here. So basically, I think this is what most people use reference recordings for, is to carry them with themselves, and when you listen to a system, then you can hear how it compares to other systems. I think that's the most realistic primary function, is to be able to tell different sonic signatures because you are familiar how it sounds in your home, in your system, and then you can compare other systems, how do they sound compared to the experience you have. But of course, you must always remember that it's not just the system that you are listening to. The room plays at least as big of a factor in what you are experiencing. So, so if you are using reference recordings for that purpose, I really warmly recommend that you set up your stereo in a different room. If you have multiple rooms in your house, then maybe spend a day to set up your system in a different room and listen to the reference recording in your different room, and you will be probably quite a bit surprised that it will sound quite a bit different from what you are used to in your main room. So so I think that that's a quite noble purpose, and actually for that you can use any recording, because it's going, whatever recording you use for that purpose, the main requirement is that you are very familiar with it. So I would suggest to use that recording for this reference purpose, that is your favorite, that you listen to it the most time. And I recommend to use the entire album, not a single song. Because when you are picking a single song, depending on the highlights of that song, you are going to preferentially favor those aspects of the recording which are highlighted in that song. So for example, if there's like a really loud guitar on that track, then that's what you will be looking for, the loud guitar. And then you will think that, oh, this system sounds much better, but all it does is it renders that loud guitar better to your taste. Other aspects might not work out like that. And if you just pick a single song, or just even a select few songs and listen to a song only, then your ear and the mentality, the attitude to listen to that, you will just listen to these spectacular parts, and all you will gain from it is to reach a conclusion which system sounds the most spectacular. And that's the sure way to go to audio hell, because then you will be optimizing for 2-minute listening sessions or 5-minute tops. And it is one fact of life that when you optimize for a 5-minute ride, then that ride will be fun for those 5 minutes, but what you will experience is that you will be unable to listen to an entire album. So what I notice is that if you just optimize your system with a single track, the most spectacular sounding track, then you will be preferentially finding gear for yourself that can do spectacular but massively fails at the non-spectacular parts of music. So basically you will be skewing and totally ruining your listening habits to turn yourself into a thrill-seeking machine. So when you are looking for those few minutes of highlights and you can't find the joy anymore to listen to a whole album. And that's really sad, and it will lead you to audio burnout. This is 100% proven method to reach that. So that's why my recommendation is to use for reference purposes, entire albums, because during an entire album you have both highlights and also the quiet bits. When they just play quietly, it's not the trios, not the bass, but it's just that part which is the introduction or intermezzo or something like that. And the system that can render the beauty and the content of those parts which are not spooktacular, now that's where you are finding something special. And this is what I've experienced. If your system can render non-spectacular music beautifully and in a way that it engages you, that will lead you further in your quest to develop a sound system that gives you fulfillment on the long term and grows towards natural sound. And I also think of it as the real high fidelity, because when we are turning something into plastic or blowing up the contrast to make the spectacular details even more spectacular, to me that's not high fidelity. To me that's applying Photoshop to the sound to skew and distort to make the show bigger. For me that doesn't work, and everyone has reported who has been an audiophile for 20 years or more that when they go that road, it leads to audio burnout, and they have not found their happiness when they went that road. And to find your happiness, that's what me and my friends have been doing. Pick your whole album and listen to it. When we do gatherings, get together as audiophiles and friends, we listen to entire albums. And just for closure, I would like to share one such album that I've been using for ages. Especially, actually, I haven't listened to it in years, but during my 20 plus years, I listened to this maybe like 500 plus times. And this is a wonderful CD because it has Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition in 2 versions. It has both the orchestral version and then the original piano version. So if you just put it on, hit play, then you get to experience both how an orchestra sounds And that's one of the best ways to test the ability of your system, because it has both very, very quiet whisper soft parts, and it has gigantic explosive parts that test your dynamics. It has lots of musicians in it, so it really tests the imaging capability, the resolving capability, the clarity. And then of course there is the piano, and the piano tests how a single instrument fares, and how the harmonic richness comes through, how's the tonal integrity of the piece. And it's just, also both of them are fabulous interpretations, and it's a high quality recording. And when all of these get together, to me that is a reference recording. If it just sounds spectacular, if it's not something that comes from my heart, that doesn't resonate with me, I don't recommend it to use as a reference recording. And for me, this is something really, really special, because I have been listening to the pictures at an exhibition since I was 5, since I was a kid. So this brings really, really deep childhood memories for me. And when a system renders it particularly well, it really digs into my forgotten memories, and takes me to places. And if you get something like an absolute sound sampler or something like that, and it has music you never heard, you can't relate to, it doesn't tug on anything, it doesn't wake up anything in your deep memories. It's not personal. It doesn't engage you at the same level where your own memories, where your own self can engage you. Because to me, audio is not just an external journey that you have something objective, absolute in front of you, and I want the best sound or perfect sound, which is totally clueless and meaningless, and has, when you think about deeply, has no reference point at all. But it's a journey within, to your own soul, and the audio system is just tugs on the strings of your soul. And to get to that, your best reference is something that is rooted in your childhood. So seek out music that you listened early on when you were a kid, and try to find maybe even the same version if you can find it, and if it's in a good recording quality, or just try to find it in a modern interpretation, in a high quality recording, and have fun with it, play around with that. So that was my primer on reference recordings. I will share a lot more, but I think this was the most important, and I hope it will be useful for you. Please like, subscribe, have a wonderful, amazing audio journey. Bye bye.